Hello again. Still season 2, episode 34.1. It's not season 34. Um, a nice little solo session with our favorite elf ranger.
Indeed.
What are we up to today?
Well, first off, I need to up the HP on my character sheet, as we went up from 64 to a 4 plus 4 at 8, so a 64 to 72. We're broken into the 70s. I should probably update the AC that I have not done ever on this character sheet. But, well, I believe we'll start off right where old Uzma left poor Reuven alone. All alone in the scary world.
Well, that's life, right?
It is life.
Here you are in the middle of your favorite town, city, all alone. Osma just gave you a large hug, cast stone skin on you, and GTFO'd. Technically, he went up to his room and then you never saw him again.
Yeah. But he's a wizard. You know, we're kind of assuming already that he does weird things and he'll probably leave. If he like gave me a hug already, he probably means he's gone.
Probably.
Well, still now in a bit of a fumblement, as unsure what to do, looks around the room of the LLL once more. How familiar it is. And I think will think to himself that just as Uzma said, should do the normal business first, and he'll go out, and realizing he wants to travel, looking through his backpack, he doesn't really have everything he needs, so he's going to go out to the stores section of the city and will buy himself at least a sleeping bag. He got some rations off of Uzma. He has a water skin. He has his backpack. That's some flask and oil, some acid and oil. He has his magic swords, a bag full of arrows, and his clothes, and some miscellaneous equipment. And that's kind of all he has. He also doesn't really have that much money, like 15 gold. Which should be enough as he goes around, looks for a bedroll. That's 1.5 silver, no gold. Mark that down, a bedroll, and he thinks to himself, he'll probably not need a tent. Probably not even gonna use a tent if he's sleeping on trees. So he'll stick with the bedroll for now, and takes in a breath of air in the middle of the city now, thinking to himself, scratching his what do I do? Reuven Osmar is gone. Julius is gone. And he is all left alone. But
Almost alone.
ultimately, he had one thought the last time we spoke, which was the upgrading of his skills with the bow. His techniques have seemed to run out of improvement, or large improvement at least. He's done everything he could with the knowledge he has, and he thinks to himself that he should really. He's missing something from what he would think is a perfect archer. And I would think now with the distraction of Uzma gone, he wants to take it easy. So he's gonna find a spot, probably within the woods, to meditate and think on this and give this whole thing a good thought. And probably just walks off from the middle of the city into the woods, kind of aimlessly letting his subconscious mind and his spirit just guide him to anywhere, what he would deem a nice spot, as he walks aimlessly until he thinks he's found a good meditation spot.
How far into the forest do you go?
Minimum 10 minutes, maximum more than a day, the full day. He'll travel the full day. And just there is a lot of emotion within Reuven at this point, and lots of like build up stresses that I think he can't really, though the baths and drink and all that in these human towns is nice, it's not really the breath of fresh air he's accustomed to calm himself. So letting his spirit free, will just walk out and see where he ends up.
All right. You head into the forest, and after quite a while of wandering, you come across a nice place. There seems to be a small pond, a slight little clearing.
Looking at this place, Reuven, I'm assuming something is like, yeah, this is nice. And he, is it still raining? How's the weather?
It is raining. Yeah, it's the end of the rainy season.
Well, I think he finds a nice spot within this clearing. Maybe. Yeah. He covers himself up with the foresty cape or piece of clothing that was given to him by the dryad of these woods, and just sits down right in the muddy flooring of this clearing and just goes back against mud and just lays down, crosses his legs, and looks up into the sky.
The sun is still in the sky, so it's still bright outside. Where's your mind wandering to?
I think at first he, attempts to at least lightly calm himself, relieve himself of his mental demons, thinks back to his childhood, what at least he perceived in his, or it currently perceives as having a rather troubled childhood. At least, though in real life it might be a bit different, but from his perspective, he had a tough time growing up, so he had to clear his mind multiple times, and he tries to close his eyes as the beating sun and the rain bellows against him. To envision himself in back home, back within the trees, and visions of that time blast back in his mind.
This almost feels like home. I mean, it
It
is
does.
somewhat elven forest. It is clearly not maintained by elves, but still.
Yeah, and I think that's why, or the reason he currently even can compel himself to be in such a situation where he can relax enough and breathe in the air that doesn't smell of rust and iron and dirt and poop like it does in all the human cities, and lightly let himself free, lightly unrestrain himself as he thinks back to his childhood, his parents, the people around him, and probably after some time of dwelling on this and maybe relieving his spirit, maybe not, maybe making it worse, but I think it's unclear. But finally, the thoughts move enough into time as to the time he's training himself, or is being trained, he's being taught techniques of the elves, and those scenes go past his eyes. And that probably points him towards the current situation once more. Those thoughts of shooting a bow, shooting arrows, drive him to the place of conflict in his mind that he wasn't before. What do I do now? I'm kind of stuck. I have some clues, but how do I get there? How do I advance and use what I have before? Use the sample, the small amount of the future he could have with how he understands the movement of a goblin and goblinoids, and how he could use that and that as an example to more or less innovate or try to innovate something himself. I think that's something he's likely bored into his mind, as though he doesn't regret going to a teacher, finding his teacher, and learning the path of humans. He's found that rather useful, and it's definitely kept him alive. It's very practical. Though in the end, it is human techniques. He would like to, at least what he would deem as maybe they aren't that much, knowing where his teacher got the knowledge, but to him it's still not fully his own. So those thoughts of instantly going to people and finding help do rummage through his mind pretty quickly. I think there's the elven side of him, the his heritage and the situation he grew up in. He well, who he was born as, that side of him likely bursts out and kind of scratches his mind to that ego to do something himself. You don't have to let everyone teach you how to do stuff. You can innovate yourself. And with that, I think he steals himself a bit more, and thinks maybe rising up from the, I don't know, tens of minutes or hour plus that he'd spent thinking of the past, rises up to a cross-legged stance and really now thinks through how can he bring this to reality? How can he innovate this? And how can we what plan? What he needs a plan. How is he going to do that? And I think he does try to think of some plan. DM, I have a couple of ideas, but as you're also the DM, a part of Ruvens' mind, some thoughts might form from you, or as will go. But I'll present my idea, and then we can compare. But as it was the goblins and how he learned to do that with the goblins and how he would like in the perfect concept would be to take those abstract ideas of knowing how goblins move and making them into a semi technique, a ability of some sort to instantly be able to look at a creature and see its movements and how it attacks or moves or runs or jumps, and being able to with and being able to reflex, be able to extrapolate where it would move in the future, and with that be able to find its weak spot and hit it there, find the weakest spot there. But for that, he would have to train his mind to be able to look at creatures like that. As thus far, he's only been focusing on himself, or most of his focus have been kept on his form and his arrows, and maybe slightly to the wind conditions and such, but mostly just how he can shoot the best and quickest. And for that, he thinks he would probably train himself. I think it's something that can't be done in a day, but step by step, going from starting out with smaller, slower, easier animals or prey, he could, and once he can do similar things to those, he could move up step by step to stronger, bigger, sneakier, and flashier enemies.
Yeah. So since we're talking about high mastery here.
Yes.
High mastery has like 3 things it brings with it. The first being your initiative getting lower.
Okay.
The second, an additional category of extra long range. And the third being a better chance to crit.
Okay. I can definitely see finding the weakness and anticipating the position as the the third one quite easily. The initiative part could very well be removing the part where you have to look and see how the creature moves, but instead already anticipating what the creature does moments before it actually does it, and being able to move faster than normal as you
Yeah.
take the whole action of looking at someone and being able to and having to respond to their actions, but instead respond to their actions before they've even done those actions.
So what
And
I came up with is, on the one hand, obviously, going back and actually focusing on training is one big part. And the other part would be to actually understand how movement works. This would intervene with understanding like different creatures, how they move, and breaking it down to whatever this is called, kinesiology or what it's called, understanding how things can move. There's only a set amount of possibilities outside of magical movement, but that's weird to begin with. But normal creatures only have a set amount of possibilities how to move. And once you can understand how these movements work, you can quickly anticipate how something can move, and therefore have a critical hit has like two meanings. One, it hits a place that is very important, or it hits a place that is very critical for you to function. So also hitting somewhere in the movement apparatus of a creature that will ruin its ability to move properly is also a critical hit. Do the things that I say make sense?
I think so, yeah.
So basically, somehow you need to translate your knowledge that you kind of have about goblinoids into a more general knowledge of movement. That's like where you arrived as well with your thinking. And then probably just hammer it out. Find someone to train certain things with, or find a lot of things to hunt. And maybe find someone who can help you to formalize your experience.
Okay. What was the second thing that the High Master gives?
Extra long range. Yeah. Which kind of fits in the same niche. In order to hit someone that's way further away than before, you also have to be much better in anticipating how and where they could move, so you can actually hit it. It's kind of placed in the same niche.
Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense.
And then going downstream, like understanding movement, formalizing the movement, training the movement, and then arriving at the point where you don't really have to think about it anymore, and therefore being able to act quicker.
Yes.
Does that sound like a plan?
I think it does. I think this is what he thinks about. I think there is, just as I mentioned before, Ruvens kind of heritage, sort of where he came from, how he was born, to what tier he was born at, gave him this lightly, both inflated ego, but also was then like because of the like backlash or some or like it wasn't some or like not everyone treated him like super kindly, probably because he was uh who he was and how he looked and how he was grown like born kind of diminutive. So I think he there is this kind of like seed of a darker like ego there that kind of like pushes against some of those ideas at a time of when he's thinking of like I'll probably need help for this. I'll to look at the movements of so many types of creature. There's a myriad of different ways of travel and different types of limbs and ways and quadruped or dual or whatever that he'll need help. And at the same time another part of his brain is going, no, you can do this yourself. You're fucking Reuven Vindra. You're the best. What I think actualizes there is in the middle of this kind of confrontation, a anger from a message of sorts left by someone who's now dead, Julius. I believe his visage is quite important in this, as in the middle of this negative feelings he's currently struggling with there inside that forest is the visage of Julius, as he reminds Reuven of, well, the importance of hard work, importance of help from others, importance of using people and friends, and the ways of humans rather than elves. And I think from the outside you'd see a Reuven of a twisted face and anger and emotions and facial expressions change constantly as he's unsure of himself, but with a punch to the ground, the anger and emotions he's felt because of Julius's death and how he feels that he could have done something more, how he could have saved him or helped him somehow or some way if he just had been better. And I think that is something that pulls away those thoughts of I need to do this alone and replaces it with I need to do this regardless of anything, regardless of whatever I feel. Because there's still Uzma there. He still needs protecting. At least that's what he tells him in his mind, himself in his mind. Uzma still needs protecting. Uzma still needs someone to make sure they aren't going to die. And I think the fire that is born from that is something that pushes away those thoughts of doing this alone. And finally, after a horrendous amount of time battling with oneself in Reuven's mind, but not going emo this time, I think, having the experience of it before and the happenings with Julius has made Reuven different, has given him a different perspective. and he opens his eyes after probably many hours at this point. I will let you say what I see or what if there's any light or not anymore, but I think Reuven reawakens after a long period of meditation. I think it's up to you how long it took.
Yeah.
Did it take the whole night? Did it take...
Took you a few hours, probably. You see that the light is getting faint. It seems to be dusk at the moment. You
Looking
feel like
around,
you have spent a long time thinking, but it seems like not that much time has passed.
Well, I think as the final conclusions of his at least placed plan, at least for now, the rough visages of a very rough plan are in his mind. The passion from Julius's death spurs him forward and fills his body as he jumps from the ground, calls for Kitty, and will march, I think, with the assumption of asking for help. And asking for help from he can't do it alone, and he'd like maybe help for the beginnings of this. At least I think so. And instead of moving somewhere in the east to the eastern side, I think he moves to the western side, looks towards that direction, and thinks that.
You kind of don't really know where you are at the moment, right?
I think so.
So where are you trying to get?
I think the greatest help he can get at this moment will be from the centaurs of this forest, and ask them for a favor to help him train. Which okay. I think that's because he feels like there's multiple people he could ask, but for like the first bit, well, he'll need lots of like different types of movement and to maybe stalk out prey or whatever. I think he would like to do that with a larger group, a larger organization.
Okay.
At least that makes sense to me. And
I need to grab my paper with the names.
Yeah.
There's some names that I should have.
Some names. I have some names written down as well.
Yeah.
Let's see if I recall anything. Though I think he probably doesn't want to. I think he'll want to go there tomorrow, but today he wants to at least figure out where he is, and then tomorrow head to Centaur Land.
All right. Give me your best. What's it called? Direction sense.
Let's see. I think it's wisdom, but I'll check if you want. I'll bring out the Excel document from Neil. This is the directions is 1 perception, cost 1, ability prerequisite modifier 1. So perception plus 1. 15. Ooh, that is a failure.
That is
He
a failure.
has-
You look around and you notice that you're actually, with the weather being like this and you're not paying attention where you went to, you're kind of lost in the woods at the moment.
All right. He'll probably then spend the rest of tonight before going to sleep to find a large tree he can first sleep at, and two, he can, during sunrise or like when the sun comes up, be able to tell at least slightly better.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll go to look for the largest tree in his area before going to sleep.
All right. Mm. Uh, by the time, like, it quickly gets dark and your vision is very restricted. So if you want to continue wandering in the dark through the forest to find a big tree, you can. But as of now, you haven't really found one.
All right. I think he'll just pick the largest of the trees in his immediate area
Mm-hmm.
and will prepare, I guess, elven camp, which is find the biggest like sleeping spot on a tree, and tie up his like uh, newly bought bedroll for a nice, comfy like nest type thing.
All right.
And I think for in a long time we'll sleep in the woods once more.
All right. Do you have any plans how to keep watch, or do you rely on your abilities and Kitty's natural vigilance?
I think so, yes. I don't think we have any ways of really keeping watch. I guess it could be me and Kitty doing it, but I think at this point Ruben feels quite safe, especially on a tree, especially with his newfangled stone skin,
Mm-hmm.
which he still hasn't like tested, but he feels pretty safe, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it'll be a unwatched night.
Right.
And yeah, we'll go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You wake up the next morning.
Very good one. Very good.
And try to pinpoint your general location.
Yes, I will have to do so once more.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully with the sun this time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll roll again.
Yep.
24.
You're pretty sure that you must be somewhere west of Lobay.
Okay, then he's pretty confident in himself that he'll start heading more or less south to find. He doesn't really have a good gift, I guess, but he's also, yeah, he's also not exactly the person that would give gifts all the time. Is so, yeah, I think it's fine. We'll hope.
Okay. So you head into the center territory, which you assume to be the center territory. And let's see what your luck is. Yeah. After walking for a few hours, you can hear some horse sounds somewhere in front of you.
Reuben will probably he's probably in the elven state at the moment, but he'll step out of it and will probably shout a greeting into the woods in elven
Mm-hmm.
to see if there is a response.
Mm-hmm. Give me a d20. Right. You shout a elven greeting into the woods, and you hear the sound of the galloping change.
Sure, that's good enough.
And you get the distinct feeling that the group is fanning out.
He's kind of used to it at this point.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the like our time at the elves would do the same, or like the elven like type of this thing. So I feel like it would be impolite to like to like get out of the restrictions of a guest as a guest.
Alright. So you just stand there in the open, so you're visible.
Yes.
And you can hear that the whatever creatures you have alerted to yourself, you assume they are the centaurs, are circling around you. And then stepping into your vision is a group of 2 centaurs, one with a bow, one with a club. And they will stop and shout something at you in a language you do not understand.
I think I've in this part of the woods before. Arun, these are centaurs, right? So I probably have a pretty tough time telling their faces.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that the leader of this area, this western area, or like northwestern area, northeastern area, I guess, of the gods here, is called Kasach, at least on my notes. So I'll say greeting in Elven again with a light bow and say the name Kasach.
The centaur with the bow will step forward and say, "Hello, myself. You looking for a Kasach?"
No, no. It's hello to you as well. I just have been in these woods before and have been in Star's company before. I'm looking at the female one real hardly right now because we've met a bow. Does this female use a bow?
Did I say female? Just
I didn't. Did you
I
say
did
it
not
uses a bow?
specify. I said it uses a bow. Yeah.
Okay, so I instantly in my mind it's flipped and it's like it's a.
Okay.
Is it the female? Does it look like female? I'm squinting hard at her or at him. They.
No, it's a guy.
Okay. I've been traveled in your woods before, and I have met Kassar and his retinue. Sorry, I have not told you my name. I'm Reuven, with the Vinner clan of the Elves. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Kazakh is probably somewhere deeper in the south at the moment. Is there something you need from him?
He shakes his head. No, I didn't see you. I didn't see you that well from the distance. I assumed, but forgive me. I am not as well understanding of these woods as you are. And he will say, actually, he like kind of is scratching his head. I have a request of you, or I guess to your clan. I would like to, if possible, be able to meet your clan leader. I believe I have met with them before.
The center turns around and speaks to the one next to him in language you don't understand.
Yep.
Then turns back around to you after a bit of back and forth and says, "We can bring you to the glade."
I would be very grateful. And gives him a bow once more.
Do you want to move on foot, or should we take you?
He kind of awkwardly just whichever you would prefer.
The center smiles and then says, "Well, you can ride on my back."
He nods. Doesn't talk back, but will like whistle into the woods, and a elven cat runs out into his bag, or onto his back. And Reuven climbs on top of the horse people.
Yeah. You remember the name of the leader of the centers?
I have it in my notes. Was Arakak. That's how I've written it. I do not write names very well.
It's good enough.
It has two cars between an A. So it's.
All right. They will ride you deeper into the forest. Do you try to pay attention to where you're going, more or less? Or do you...
I don't think he does, just because he is a bit nervous of it. He does feel a bit like presumptuous at this point, asking the clan leader of the centaurs for a favor. But that burning in his heart, I think, pulls him forward at this point and doesn't let him squirm out of it.
All right.
But so he's mostly only focused on himself. He's like whispering to himself, trying to think through what he's going to say.
Okay. Yeah. You head deep into the forest. You cross a small river and follow the small river, arriving once again in the center's glade. Your riding partner will slow down with you, as the probably leader of the group will continue towards a large tree. You've been here before, you know.
Yeah.
That's probably that's the place where the leader of the clan lives. You know, the leader of the clan has some spellcasting abilities.
Oh yeah, he did heal me. I do remember that. Which is, I guess, it's not interesting to Reuven, but it was probably interesting to the rest of the party. But yeah, Reuven will at least get down from his mount and will do a very polite and like bow to the centaur that he rode, and is like very says a thank you.
The center gives you a polite nod and then stands next to you and waits. And you can see appearing from the tree the older looking center leader and the leader of the foraging, raiding, defending party that you have traveled here with. He will stand at the edge of his tree, more or less like where the branches of the tree end, and your riding buddy will say, you move forward, you can talk to him.
Thank you. And he will move forward, walking, maybe in a good pace, but didn't want to politely move towards them. Not wanted to be impolite, and once he gets within talking distance, he will do the proper etiquette of elven kind to a clan leader, and do the probably a quite ceremonial type of bow, and say, my greetings, leader of centaurs, Arakach. Bites his tongue, hoping he did pronounce the name correctly.
The centaur has in his hand this gnarled staff, quite large. Has it put next to him, like a human would use a walking stick. He clearly doesn't need it for walking, but he has this large staff, and he will give you a bow, a formal bow, and say, Master Elf, I'm glad you remember my name.
I would be dishonorable if I forgot a clan leader's name. You are a pillar of society. I hope you have been well and healthy.
I have, thank you. What can we help you with?
Well, he coughs, and I think very Ruvenesque will be very strained and poignant, and will go to the point quickly, and will say, Leader, I am here to ask a favor of you or your clan. And he lightly lowers himself as a form of to show his in the position of him as being the favor asker, and will very briefly describe his problem of his bowmanship, and will say, I hope to ask your clan or your wisdom and to be able to assist me in this quite odd request. As he nervously lightly looks up. And he did do the words he used is favor for a actual favor of a something that costs, and not the polite of the polite word of favor, but the proper and how would you say this, the deal favor.
Huh. The center leader will listen to your request, and then I'll say, walk with me. And he slowly turn around and let you catch up to him.
Ruven, probably visibly confused, but will stand up perfect his posture and will move beside the centaur.
He walks with you back to the tree and around the tree and down the other side, like the tree's on a small hill towards the, let's say, small lake. And says, I feel very sympathetic to your struggle. How do you think my people and I could be of help to you?
Reuven nods. First saying, I've seen your people use bow, the archery bow, so I'm certain you are, your people have a wisdom and a heritage of it, at least some sort. And what I, hope for is to expand and be able to make a sort of gathering of information for myself of this, of the movement of creature that I described. And for that, I would have to know and find these types of creatures, and at times require help to be able to observe them and see their movements for extended periods of time. So saying those two things, like those two kind of requests, and Reuven goes silent once more.
I'm afraid, Mr. Elf, that our abilities with the bows are probably no match to yours, especially since our bodies are very different. If it is to help, if it is any help for you, you are welcome to stay here for some time and observe our movements, although I don't quite understand how this would help you.
Reuven nods along. I think there's a moment of silence here as Reuven ponders on this. But if he is left to silence for a couple of minutes, he will say something.
Yeah.
I think
Center waits for you to speak.
After a long, drawn-out pause, and Reuven looking down at the ground, seemingly thinking the gears in his brain turning, he probably cups his fist in his hands and does a light bow once more, but this time more just a general apologetic bow. He's like, I apologize. I think I've been a bit hasty with my request or sorts. I have only of recent thought of this plan, and I think I overstepped my bounds. I do believe there could be. I could very much use the help of your, as the humans would say, manpower of within this woods. But right now, I came with you with half-baked knowledge and half-baked thoughts. I'm sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry for. Do you know what you're looking for?
Can you repeat? Did it say, "Do you know what you're looking for" as a question
Yeah,
or like as a affirmation?
as a question.
Okay. Ruben, again, eyes go lightly down and thinks. Breathes in deeply. I require seems to lightly open his mouth up, closed and open and closed and open as he seems to stumble within his own brain, and like gears turn once more as he's to processing the question that seemingly was a quite easy one, but to him at this point seemed to be a rather difficult one. And quite uncertain of himself, but does open his mouth and say, "Clan leader, I think I require to study, study beings." And then a light cloud of like uncertainness clouds his eyes. Seemingly, though he has a very like shadowy glimpse of what he needs, he doesn't quite have a great idea of how to get that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, neither does the center. He checked, but he doesn't.
Okay. At least that was an in check. Uh, I think seeing the silence for a bit. I think Ruben again does an apologetic bow. It's like, again, I think I misjudged things. I shouldn't have come here so abruptly. I should have thought things through more. It's
It
unbecoming
is
of me.
always an honor for us to welcome one of your clans here. If it is a creature of the forest you're looking for, I'm certain we could help you. But unless you have a more specific understanding of what you need, I'm afraid we aren't that much of help to you.
I I understand. I I will remember those words, and if there is ever a creature I require within these woods to see, I might gr- um, make my presence known here once more and come to ask for help.
It would be a pleasure to help you.
I think there's a final nod as the thought finally trickles into Ruben that he should like, okay, maybe this guy can't help him, but there's got to be ways he can do it himself, or like see if other people have good ideas, right?
Hmm.
Then he will uh, probably just like understand that and be like, okay, I at least know that I can't get anything here, and I will move on from here. And then like polite nod to like seemingly end the conversation, at least that part of the conversation with the clan leader, and nod at that and say, very well. Um, is your clan doing okay? The business of humans and the weird clan of Deepwood, or within the southern parts of these woods. Is everything?
We have come to an agreement with the humans in the large city. The people of Deepwood are still outlawed, but they don't seem to care too much.
I understand. If there is ever a thing that your clan has trouble with, or needs help with, and he thinks to himself how they would communicate with him, and like a letter or message to me can be. I will always be ready to help, though I'm uncertain if I can gain it very quickly, but I am ready to help if it is needed.
The centaur will give you a nod of his head and say, if it comes to it, I will see if I can locate you. Thank you for your offer.
I think Ruben does a final farewell greeting or farewell saying at that, and a bow, and will take his leave, unless the clan leader has anything else to say to him.
He will hand you a berry as a parting gift.
A berry, you said?
A berry, yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, I probably should have eaten for last day, so I marked down a dry ration. Okay. Got a berry. And yeah, Reuben takes his leave.
Alright. Where to from here?
So he couldn't get help from there. Is the next step well, probably the most pragmatist way is go to Arya, the Dryad. So I'll have that before. Oh, that's a weird way to spell Arya. Is that you how you gave it to me? Interesting. Okay.
Oh, probably not.
it's I've spelt it a weird way. I think. How is he escorted out? Is he just let loose into the wilds?
Do you have any preferences?
I don't think so. I don't think he speaks up at all about that.
Okay.
He it seems to be like biting on his tongue, thinking.
Then they will just let you leave, and you're kind of thinking that they're probably watching you as you leave, but you are a welcome person in this place, so if they are watching, they're probably watching to make sure that you're safe.
I think well from that. Ooh, still here. He thinks to himself how far away Dryad's Cove would be, and probably will try to make it there by pushing it and see if he can get that today.
Okay.
Because 12 movement, I can do 24 miles, right?
You already have moved half a day, so
Yeah, but so that'd be 12 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I think he's pretty. Ooh, yeah. He probably. It's fucking Reuven. He's gonna sleep in the forest if he needs to.
Okay.
Just go straight to Dryad Grove.
All right. So you do the same as last night and try to find a nice tree to sleep on.
Yes.
Okay. You find more or less exactly what you're looking for.
Amazing. I probably mock it in my head. That's a magnificent tree is here, and I find the best spot. And probably eat the berry, I guess, or like tomorrow I'll eat the berry.
Mm-hmm. Give me a D10, a D20.
11.
11.
And I'm probably somewhere like here, I'm guessing. 12 miles.
I don't see anything.
Oh, something like here?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think he considered going to Low Bay, but then he currently feels he doesn't want to be. If he can, he doesn't want to be too near humans right now.
Mm-hmm.
Does he wake up? Well, is he?
I have to just consider something.
Is the fairy dragon here? Is he gonna?
Oh, it's not a fairy dragon.
Exactly what fairy dragon?
Everything's so unclear. I think you
I'm
wake
sorry, I
up the
should have
next
just
morning.
gone to Low Bay. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Let's see if there's something else. Oh, what's that? Yeah. Nope, nope, nope. Alright, you wake up the next morning.
Amazing. Probably pretty well rested.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe his mind is tortured by this.
Where did you store the berry?
In like a pocket probably. I have a like the green thingy that the Dryad gave. I'm assuming it might have pockets.
Oh, it's a cape.
Oh, it's a cape, right? Do have just clothes. I have like I have pants. I'm assuming the pants have pockets.
You're wearing leather armor.
True. Then just in my backpack, I have a backpack.
Okay.
So maybe, we don't know anything about like germs or things like that. So it's probably in my like coin pouch.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that makes the most sense.
Yep. Then it's still there.
Okay. I probably eat it in the morning.
Yeah.
Tastes metallic, maybe.
Oh, it tastes very great and it fills you up. Like you eat the berry and this is like enough to sustain you for the whole day.
Amazing.
Was a very good berry.
A very good berry. Okay. Higher level spell. And we'll then make the whole way. Have they travel to Dryad Grove?
Yeah.
Am I interrupted in the way?
Um. Ooh. I did roll for something else, but it would have been fun if I had rolled for interruption on the way. I think that's a no.
I am. Kitty, and Reuben are like invisible.
Yeah, you're elfing around.
Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
15. Again,
Alright.
that's a success. That's a failure.
Then you miss whatever was happening
Cool.
and arrive at the grove. It is middle of the day, and as you arrive, you can see standing swimming in the middle of the pond is a dryad.
Reuben probably. Kitty probably runs out first, but Reuben will follow after and go to the bed of the lake, or like the like near the starting of the lake, and will do a bow.
Kitty jumps into the water and quickly swims over and nuzzles the dryad in the water. She turns around and says, "Hello, Reuven."
Greetings, Arya.
What brings you to this place?
I wanted to first have my companion here catch up with you, and I also had a thing to ask you about, a trouble, but it's not too important. I can wait. And he like sits down in the muddy ground and will wait until Aryan is done.
Yeah, she like pets the kitty, and they seem to be communicating as they tend to do so. And then after a while, she swims back to the edge of the lake, edge of the pond, whatever you want to call it. Exits and sits down next to you in the grass. Says, you have talked with the centers.
Yes, I bade them a visit first. It kind of looks shy, even of like, oh, I went to the centaurs first before going to her. Like, did I betray her? But it doesn't voice those words. Just bashfully looks away for a quick second. I asked them for some help, but the clan leader there said that he wasn't able to help me. So I'm a bit lost, looking for some new help now, wandering around.
Lost again?
I think he sighs a bit and then says, not like last time, he shakes his head. I feel I do have purpose. Something happened. One of the two that came with me last time. See you? And he bites his bottom lip. He troll attacked him while he was alone. We couldn't save him.
That is sad.
As Ruben nods and says, and I want to make sure that won't happen again. That I can be better, a better companion.
Was it your fault that he died?
I think there's this deep sigh from Ruben as he kind of gestures his shoulders and says, I don't know. We left him on his own, but we thought it was all according to the plan, but clearly we weren't in a similar page. And he did things we didn't think he would do, and he was in the woods alone.
Which one of your companions died?
Not the wizard, the person you looked at quite deeply last time. Julius. Even as the name is said, there's an instant of pain through Ruben.
Do you know whose powers he was carrying?
There is a light frown on Ruben. It's just he was one of the people, the couple people we've met now that seem to follow a being. I'm unsure of what this thing is or what these things are, but just like another companion of mine, he seemed to be someone that dealt with death and undeath. That's all I know.
There's people that are afraid of dying. I'm quite certain that he was not one of these people. He probably greeted death as an old friend.
I'm glad at those words. I hope his spirit is doing well or is in peace.
The Dryad is looking up into the sky and then says, the world is changing. You are probably too young to have been imparted this knowledge. And it is not my place to give it to you.
There is confusion, but then Reuven kind of nods, doesn't reject it, doesn't say anything bad back, and just nods, accepting it. If it had been his parents to say that, he might have said something different, but Arya is someone he respects deeply, so...
Things are returning your companion carrying the mark of death, in a sense. The White Stag has returned. The All-Mother has contacted us again. This plane is in transition. It's no wonder that you at times feel lost. But what is it this time that you're looking for? You say you feel like you have a purpose?
Ruben nods, and I think similar to with the centaur, will, I think, with this time more deeply describe his plan and his ideas, and say that he now just needs to find someone or somewhere to learn. And
Well, Reuven?
hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you hear what I said?
If you said anything after you describe your plan, then no.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's all.
Okay.
And then he stays silent.
Well, Reuven, you came to me once before, and I pointed you into a direction that I'm not sure if I should regret or not. But maybe this time you already see the path that you have to go. A path that you began long ago. You already once learned how to better understand creatures. Have you considered returning to this point and see where it leads if you follow it?
There is nods from. I slightly fear that I might not be able to do it myself or need help. But it's, as you say, Lady Arya, I have done it before. I should be able to do it again. I should be able to do it to other creatures. I will try. Thank you for your advice.
There's one more thing, Reuven. I think you need to let go of your anger. When you began this path, your sadness and anger and remorse fueled your fire. And this might be in the way now.
I'm assuming the image of a goblin appears in his mind at that.
Mm-hmm.
Reuven nods, kind of understanding that he himself has been kind of unwilling thus far to give the final blow, but now that we're at this point, I think Reuven nods, kind of in his head thinking, should he bring Uzma along for this? But Uzma's so busy studying. Is it really worth it to bring him in for this?
Or maybe this is something you have to do yourself.
I think that's the conclusion he reaches. He needs to do this himself. He needs to do this as him.
You see this Arya reaches into the sky, and as you have seen one time before, a golden shimmering globe appears and floats down to her.
I stare at the globe.
Some things have to come to an end, Reuven. But sometimes the end might look very different than you expected.
I think at that point Reuven doesn't even nod, but one can see thinking and emotion shifting from his eyes. As he sucks back the tears that are about to form in his eyes, and with a huff will stand up and do a very 90-degree posture bow to Arya and say, I thank you for your advice as always. I am ever grateful, and I am greatly in your debt.
She calmly smiles at you and then says, I'm glad that I can help you from time to time.
And with that, I think Reuven's posture goes straight as a pole once more, and with a 180-degree turn will start to move out of the forest.
Alright. In which direction?
Roughly to Nolly, I think.
Alright.
Can we take a slight break right now? Unless I'm stopped by Arya.
Nope. She will let you run away. Let's take a break, yeah. Be right back.
Okay. Yeah, we... I am back. A duck is not. Heyo. So, I think as he's walking away from the grove, thoughts of images go past his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Images of a goblin raid,
Mm-hmm.
images of a certain someone that he once met, the first kind of one of the first people he ever met of humans,
Mm-hmm.
when they were alive and when they were dead, and then images of killing goblins, killing hobgoblins, almost dying to hobgoblins, in that fevered blood rage that he was at the very first combat, I would believe, where we were quite when we survived by the very skin of our teeth.
The
And
second
then
combat.
I guess, yeah,
First
second
combat
combat.
was a group of pigs.
Yes, that is true. um, then a gap, like new fixtures forming of things he's seen, creatures he's seen. Julius, both the image of, or not image of, and the concept of him dying, and the imaginary image of him being ripped apart by trolls,
Hmm.
but also an actual image from him asking Reuven, "What are you gonna do when you actually defeat these goblins? Are you gonna kill them all? Are you gonna kill the women, the children, all of them?" And then finally, Arya's own words, the scene he just came from. And as those thoughts ring through his mind, I think he hastens his pace. Did Kitty follow along, or did Kitty stay with Arya?
Oh, Kitty's following along, yeah.
Okay. And I think he fastens his pace to get to Nolly to stay.
Mm-hmm. You can get there, no problem. It's dark by the time you get there, but you can get there.
Is the tavern still open?
Yeah.
Okay. How many silver is it? 5 silver?
5, yeah.
Bam. Reuven makes it to Nolly. And knowing this might be the final town he's in, makes a quick check of his inventory and looks through to see if everything's set. He has a whole bunch of arrows. He has his weapons. Um, and I think he might buy some rope.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy 50 foot, I think, of thin rope.
Okay.
Is that how thin is thin rope?
It has to, I think, the same gov as silk rope.
Okay. But just heavier?
I think it's
Bit
also
heavier.
the same weight as silk rope, but less strong.
Okay, yeah. Hmm. You know what? I'll actually buy thick rope then. I have more than enough inventory or like strength for this, so I dump a whole bag of rope on top of my backpack
All right.
and pay 3 gold.
You have rope with you.
I'm not sure yet, but that will. It might come into play.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, probably eat in the tavern, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to bury my rations, but um, I will begin moving. And I think
Yeah.
I'm going straight in.
All right. Returning back to the place where all of this started for you, more or less.
Very much so, yes.
The hill forest. The one
This time,
place on this map that so far we haven't looked at, I think. The,
we've been at the very edges, investigated edges, but
did
never
I
went inside.
mess up something for you as well, or is it just on my end that everything's fucked right now?
What is fucked?
Do you still have the map where it belongs?
Maybe? Like everything's roughly in the same place, all the dots are in the same place, yeah. I think.
Give
Yeah.
me a few seconds. Something fucked up majorly on my end. What the fuck? Roll20 is fucking with me. Give something. I don't know why. Fatal error. Okay.
Oh, I think I had that yesterday. Roll20 being a bit of a crybaby.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can get back into game more after this. Okay, let's just... Okay. That's good. Okay. I think it was Chrome. But it seems that we're working now again. Alright.
Very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will start my journey into the woods.
Into the woods you go. As I said, the one place I think on the map that no one ever went since the game started, except for the lighthouse, I think. Everything else. Oh, okay.
We haven't been to Camp Vidovik yet, I don't think.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Haven't been to Camp Vidovitz. Only had Oliver in the Eastern Forest. Haven't been to the lakeside yet.
Nope. Not. What do you mean, lakeside? We've been on the road, but we haven't quite gone.
Yeah, I mean like the North Cape, South Cape, lakeside. These towns on the. Yeah, you haven't spent time at the lakeside.
Yeah. Still a big map. Still lots to do.
Yeah. Heading towards the hill forest. One of the places I assumed you would be heading quite early. But, well, things come in different ways than you expect them.
Very much so.
Very much so, yeah. On your way to the hill forest, nothing piques your interest. It's raining still. You are wet to the bone, as you have been for basically the last few days.
I think the damp clothes and the constant rain very much match Ruvens' current tempestuous mind. I don't think he minds too much at the moment. There's too much else going on to think about uncomfortableness right now.
Yeah. You arrive in the early afternoon at the edge of the forest.
I am very aware of goblins, right? So most of the normal tiny goblins that stick around the edge of the forest are probably asleep at the moment, right?
Yes.
Or at least are kind of, at least not very, like, watching.
I might have like watch or something, but they are not roaming around at the moment.
Yeah. And Rowan feels confident with himself that in the moment he steps into the woods, none of the goblins are going to see him.
Yeah.
And I think
you disappear into the forest and become more or less invisible. And yeah, give me a perception check as you make your way towards probably the center of the forest. Or do you have any idea where you are? Do you have any idea where you are heading?
more or less the center, yes, but I think that's not as important as looking for tracks of big goblin groups.
Yeah. All right. Let's give me a random d20.
A 5.
A 5. As you head into the forest, it's getting towards dusk now, so the dusk is like the time of day where the some of the favorite foods run around. So you know this is kind of a dangerous time, right?
Yep.
So you're not surprised as you see appearing in front of you a group of 4 wolves that are
Reuben will see if he can dodge this and get out of the way.
They seem to be looking for something. They have smelled something.
Interesting. I think Reuben does not want to get into conversation, so I think he will use the trick he used on the bears in the other woods. He will activate Invis, or he will first grab Kitty, then activate Buckler Invis, and then just book it with his strength belt.
Alright. You sprint away.
And assuming that
Yeah.
After a run for as long as the silence lasts, I'll then probably for a good bit of time try to cover my tracks, cover my smell as I go.
You've probably gotten away from the wolves.
Good enough.
And continue deeper into the forest. In here the rain is a bit filtered, so it's not as good at washing away tracks. It's still gonna be a bit tricky to find tracks unless they are really fresh. And it's getting dark now, so it's gonna be really hard to find anything now.
I think I still want to try.
Okay, give me a perception check.
17 fail.
Yeah. You don't find anything now. And you'll probably have to start looking for a place to sleep.
Okay. I think I will look for the largest tree with all the time I have remaining. I won't intentionally make myself that much to the center, but it's also okay if I go to the center, close to the center. So.
All right. You find a really nice tree. It's not as great as the trees in Lobay Forest, but it's good enough. You can climb up it a bit and make a nest for yourself and Kitty.
Yeah. I'm thinking right now he... Probably because he has a con belt on, so he feels like he doesn't have to sleep that much. So I think he'll can he lower his own sleep time to just have one watch and just tell Kitty when Kitty wakes up she'll wake me up as well. But I guess that's kind of complicated.
Yeah, that's kind of complicated.
I'll trust in the tree.
All right.
And but this time I'll make good effort to cover myself up within the tree.
All right. You
go to sleep.
Go to sleep, and did I understand this correctly? You sleep only for a few hours, and then
I feel like that's the complicated part. So
I mean, you wouldn't sleep for 12 hours normally, so
I think we want to sleep the moment we wake up, or one of us wakes up. We don't want to sleep. Yeah, I think it's okay. However it goes, we don't have an alarm clock, so we just sleep as much as we sleep. And you can just tell me seemingly what time do I wake up.
Can you give me a perception check at half perception for both you and Kitty?
one a success, Kitty a crit.
All right. So, seems like both of you will wake up. You wake up to the sound of a mumbling going on somewhere close to your tree.
Reuven wakes up and tries to look for it, probably readying himself, having his bow nearby.
You can't quite see it, but the language very familiar.
Assuming goblinoid.
Goblinoid, yeah. And it's not goblins, so
Yeah.
you assume
Do I
goblins.
see Kitty awake as well?
Kitty's awake as well, yeah.
I will whisperingly ask Kitty to go down check to see if they're on our tree or if they're like moving past us.
If they were on your tree, you would see them.
Okay.
You have 60 feet in vision, right? So you see to the ground of the tree.
Okay. So I think Reuven whispers to Kitty that we're going to be following them if we can. And that we'll try to quietly get down the tree.
You try your best to sneak down the tree. And Kitty obviously sneaks down the tree, no problem. And you can try to follow them.
Yeah.
You hear them. You know hobgoblins have the same infravision as you have, so...
Yes. So I'll want to stay away from their infravision range.
Yeah.
So once I can see a glimpse of them, I'll move back immediately.
Yeah. It's not too much of a problem of following them. You can hear them walking in the distance. You can hear them mumble to each other.
Can I tell the numbers in the group?
A handful.
Okay. I think it's more important right now to go... after some time, if we haven't made it yet, I'll try to discern which direction we're going in.
Hard to say in the dark.
Okay. Then I think it's more important to find their base rather than kill this group, so...
You follow them for a while. And then they will... you will get to... how do I put this? You follow them for a while and then you will see that they are heading onto a path of some sort. And quickly after them heading onto the path, you see a palisade wall.
Interesting. No, they're already get very close to the palisade wall. I'll stop following them and instead try to get a rundown on this palisade wall. Do a circle of it. I think I've already experienced this with the bandits, so Reuven feels quite experienced and will do all the same things I did before, trying to first do a perimeter, then see if there's any guards on the wall, and then trying to get a glimpse inside.
Right.
So like a hill or a tree or something.
Where's it? There it is. Let's quickly check if your vision is set correctly. 60 feet here, and then there should be on night. And I think. Right.
Okay. Do you want me to move myself?
Yes.
And then I think I'm maybe more back than I am, but I guess we can
Mhm.
just say I'm
Yeah.
at the
Do you have
here.
max range around that you can still see the wall?
Yeah, and I'm at full circle of it. With the bandit, you could see the watchtower people from
Yeah,
outside, right?
I have to see how this works.
Oh, okay.
You can
I
see
think I see. Yeah. Yeah, I
these
see him.
3 towers around the camp as you walk around it.
3.
3,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I don't think I see the third one. I see one here and one here.
Mm-hmm.
Was yeah, I don't see that one like I see the other two,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's okay.
It is revealed and you should be able to see it.
Should I reload the client or the Roll20?
It's not that important.
Okay. Then I will do as before and look for the biggest tree around here and let them to climb it and see inside.
Alright.
So maybe this tree? Or
These
maybe on
trees
the
aren't
other.
that high, so move yourself like to the left edge of the map.
Okay. This
Or
one
to
then?
the bottom left corner.
Bottom. Wait, 20 is staggering me. It's really not doing good. Bottom left here.
Yeah, somewhere there, it's fine.
Okay. See some camps. I see. I check my shield. See how my shield is doing.
You see nothing on the sheet?
So it seems to be not activatable yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I see 2 hobgoblins with bows.
Sounds correct.
Which means there's 6 on here. Okay. I think there's a beat in Ruvens' brain as it goes. You can